Welcome, everyone, to Intensity Broadcasting for coverage of the iOS Truck Series. Tonight, these trucks will be taking on Las Vegas Motor Speedway for 100 laps at this awesome mile-and-a-half. This should be an awesome race. These trucks are pretty much wide out. There's going to be a draft. There's going to be a lot of competitive racing, maybe some pitch strategy. You never know what's going to happen here at Las Vegas. I'm going to be your announcer for tonight, Atlee Atman-Weeson. Joining me tonight to call the action is fellow iRacer, member of the iRacing Oval Series, Dylan Redding. Dylan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Atlee, and I'm excited for some truck racing action tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You know, this track is really all about consistency and patience, and also just good driving ability. You got to be able to hit your marks, and you got to be able to maintain as much speed as possible through these corners. In some ways, this is really a driver's track, and here we are deep in the playoffs with only a few chances remaining for these guys to win a championship. So I'm excited. I think that all of the factors put together have the makings of a great race tonight.
Yeah, no, a lot of people were waiting to hear the results for who made it to the round of 8, and currently your drivers in the round of 8 are Derek Shapoo, Brian Merle Jr., Todd Mays, Josh Hall, Isaiah Gill, Stephen Black, Kyle Mays, and Colin Willems. And currently, I say the main drivers that we're going to be watching out for is pretty much everybody from the first driver in the playoff standings to the last driver. Only 3 points separate them. So points are tight between all these drivers. It's going to be a crazy race to the Final Four. And what better two tracks to have the final two races until the Final Four at than Las Vegas Motor Speedway and Talladega. I mean, those are two awesome tracks that they're two momentum tracks, and they're two tracks where, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, and they're completely different, at least. So tonight is going to be a much different challenge than next week. But for these drivers, their focus right now is on this incredibly fast and smooth Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is going to be a challenge a bit different than some other tracks we've seen. You're not going to see guys losing their tail end and getting loose and spinning out, but you are going to see guys racing very close together with not a lot of room to maneuver at times. And so the close racing is a bit of a challenge that I think these guys are going to excel at.
Yep, right now, currently in practice, the main driver who's been showing some speed is none other than Devin Buccino in the 68. His fastest time was 30.61. Second is Brian Merle Jr. He set a time of 30.67. Third is Dave Wright, 30.67. Field is all running very close. The top 5 are all separated by less than a tenth. Everybody's running very close to each other. I think this is going to be a very, very competitive race. But the main driver, again, who we're watching out for is Devin Buccino. He is actually running a bit of a throwback scheme for this race. He's thrown it back to his first ever iOS race, which was last season. And this is actually his last ever iOS race tonight. He will not be able to make it the next 2 weeks because he is moving to Florida. So for those of you who have been watching Intensity Broadcasting for a long time, you might recognize Devin Buccino's scheme. It's what gave him the nickname Yellow Fellow. And there you see it right there.
Throwing it back to himself, you got to love it, Ellie.
Yep, and it's a nice scheme with the bright neon yellow. I'm a big fan of it. And actually, here we go. Practice has concluded, and we are moving on to qualifying. So let's see if Devin can continue his momentum to qualifying and become the fastest, or we see somebody else like Isaiah Gill, Brian Merle Jr., Dave Wright, somebody else who has been fast here in practice. Let's see what happens. Got drivers coming on track. We see Stoney Benfield in the 75 is making his way off of pit road. Isaiah Gill making his way off of pit road.
Stoney Benfield, somebody who's come on strong in the later half of the season. He's been looking good the past couple weeks. We've seen him finish in the podium position before, and a pretty decent fast lap put down in practice at 30.8. So we'll have to see if he can get himself a good starting spot here for the race.
Yep, he is getting ready to cross the line right now to start his first lap of the qualifying run. Same thing with a lot of other drivers who are on track right now.
And you see Stoney stay high. The preferred line for the fastest lap is going to be on the bottom. But this first qualifying lap, you're going to see a lot of drivers stay up against the wall and try to build as much momentum as possible so that their second lap they can maximize their speed and their momentum to get the shortest lap time they can. You see him go a little lower in turns 3 and 4, but we should see him duck below the white line here and then try to keep to the bottom as much as possible in the corners for the second lap.
So Stoney Benfield to the top of the board, 31.09 is his lap time. Isaiah Gill second, 31.56. We see Dean Quallen with Facebook says, hey, fellas, what's up, Dean? Thanks for tuning in to watch the broadcast here on Intensity Broadcasting. We see Michael Lawrence to the top of the board, 30.90 is his fastest time. Almost tying it is Zach McBride. He's in second, fan favorite, and then Stoney Benfield is in third. Stoney Benfield to the top on his second lap, 30.84, but then Isaiah Gill tops that with a 30.75 in the cupcake scheme. He's brought that back. He's had a lot of different paint schemes throughout the season. He ran this in the beginning, then he switched to a Thomas the Tank Engine paint scheme, and then he was also running a Monster Energy scheme for a little bit, so good to see he brought the cupcake scheme back. So right now, top three, Isaiah Gill, Stoney Benfield, and Michael Lawrence, who was actually set his fastest lap time on his second lap. There you see him slowing down. Zach McBride slowing down, doing the same thing. Brian Merle Jr. getting ready to complete his second lap time. He's in the top 5 already. But can he improve? He does. 30.85. That's going to put him in the top 3. Still, a 10th off of Isaiah Gill's lap time. Nobody's been able to get up there to Gill. He had a very, very fast lap time, and we do still see a lot of other drivers trying to get on the board. Zachary Cox is on track. Michael Provolt, Colin Willems, last week's winner, he is on track as well. And if you missed last week, Colin Willems dominated, leading 50 of the 100 laps. He actually started on the pole and, man, just had an awesome race. Brian Newty took second, Gannon Cyphers third, Keith Miller fourth, and TJ Floyd ended up finishing fifth.
Yeah, Colin Willems has been strong recently in just about everything that he's attempted to drive. I believe he won last night at Talladega in the Cup Series as well, so certainly on a hot streak, Colin Willems.
Yep, we'll see how he qualifies. We see Michael Provolt into the top 5, 30.90, and that was on his second lap, so he won't get a chance to improve on that. We see TJ Floyd, he's got a win this season. He's on track right now. Kyle Mays, he has a win this season. He is on track right now, and he is one of our playoff drivers. Sylvan Seguin in the Coca-Cola machine, he's also taken the track. Josh Hall, another playoff driver who is fighting to hang on and make it to the Final Four.
Of course, repping our Intensity Broadcasting livery, as always, Josh Hall.
Yep, and we'll see if that Intensity Broadcasting car can get a good lap time. I know Josh is very, very excited for next week when these trucks will be taking and running on Talladega Super Speedway. Josh loves the super speedways, and we see actually Colin Willems only 0.05 off of Isaiah Gill on his second lap. That's going to put him in second. Man, only 0.05 off the pole. That 17 is definitely one of the ones to beat here tonight, trying to make it 2 in a row for wins here in the iOS Truck Series. It's definitely not out of the question for that to happen, and we will see if it happens tonight here on Intensity Broadcast. We see Willems slowing down to a stop. We got Cody Moore back in the iOS Truck Series after a bit of a hiatus. I know fans have been wondering where he's been. Well, here he is, getting ready to set some qualifying laps. Man, you love to see that he's back and better than ever here in the iOS Truck Series.
It's certainly good to have Cody back. He's always a really strong competitor, always competing for wins. And, the Truck Series is missing a little something when he's not a part of it. So really glad to have him out here. And looks like that first lap is going to be good enough to put him. I take that back. I think he just started his first lap. So we'll have to see now that he comes onto the backstretch what this first lap is going to be like for him.
Look at this. Sylvan Seguin able to break into the top 3 with a 30.84 as his time. We don't really see Sylvain Seguin up front too much, but wow, this is awesome seeing him get a great lap time. He is knocked out of the top 3 by none other than Intensity Broadcasting's very own Joe Wright, who also sets a 30.84. It's going to come down to the thousandths of a second, so Joe's going to get that third place spot and break into the top 3. Good job for him, and he's going to slow to a stop. But also, love to see Sylvain Seguin looking fast.
Absolutely. He's a guy who shows up every single week. He does a lot of work behind the scenes to keep these leagues afloat. I'm really excited for him to have a good start tonight. He's strong at this racetrack, and I expect to see him competing all night long.
Yep, he drives in, I believe, the Cup Series, Truck Series, and ARCA. He's one of the admins of this league, and I believe he also owns a team as well. So does it all. Sylvain Seguin, a big part of this league. Oh my, wow, Cody Moore in his first race back with the iOS in a while. He sets a 30.78 as his lap time. That's only 300ths off of leader Isaiah Gill, and that was his second lap, though, so he won't get another chance to improve.
You see him staying on track here, putting down some additional practice laps. I don't believe he was able to turn a lap in our practice session, so certainly taking advantage of the time here to do so.
Now, I forgot to mention, I do want to mention how the team standings are looking like. I know a lot of people have been paying attention to that. Right now, Team Mays is on top in the team standings. They have 2 wins this season, 7 top 5s, 16 top 10s. Everybody on Team Mace has been chipping in to get some good finishes. But it is a close battle between them and then second place, 2 pedals, 1 clutch. They've also been doing very, very well. 1 win, 7 top 5s, and 14 top 10s. They're only 24 points behind. We see YXC Racing is in 3rd. Intensity Racing Team is in 4th. And then rounding out your top 5 is Operators Racing. We see Stephen Black, who's trying to make it to the Final 4. He sets a 30.77, which is only 200ths off of Isaiah Gill. But, man, nobody's been able to get up there to Isaiah. Just had a great lap time.
We see Brooke Qualley on the screen now. I want to give a special shout-out to her. This is her first time racing with us here in the iOS Truck Series. Her brother Jackson, her dad Dean are both longtime iRacing Over Series competitors. We're certainly glad to have Brooke on the track here tonight as she crosses the line to complete her first qualifying lap. And that was a 31.083. She'll be looking to improve on that here on lap 2 and hopefully move a little bit further up the board.
Also, we have Devin Buccino on track. 30.84 was his first lap time. He is in 8th at the moment. We'll see if Brooke can improve on her second lap. Maybe break into the top 15 or top 10. Getting down on the apron. Yep, she breaks into the top 20, 30.95, picks up a little bit. So she's going to be starting inside the top 20. We'll see if she can make her way up through the field and maybe get into the top 15 or top 10. Let's see. Devin Buccino, I believe, tied his lap time, and he's going to stay in 8th.
Probably a bit disappointing there for Devin. You know, we saw him be fastest in practice, unable to put down the type of lap he was looking for. Still a top 10 lap time, to be sure, and he'll be just fine. As you know, we got a 100-lap race ahead of us where he's going to be strong, no doubt. But still, he was probably hoping for a pole. So,
and there we go. We are officially gridding for this event. This should be an exciting one. Here we go. Starting on the pole with a scorching time of 30.754. Isaiah Gill is starting on the pole. Outside of him is Stephen Black of Cyclone Racing fame. 3rd is Cody Moore. Outside of him, it is Canada's very own Colin Willems. And then rounding out your top 5, it's Intensity Broadcasting announcer Joe Wright.
In 6th tonight, starting, we have Sylvain Seguin. It's good to see him up there. And 7th is Stoney Benfield. 8th is Devin Buccino, a past winner this season. 9th is Junior Nation, Brian Merle Jr. 10th is former winner and playoff driver Kyle Mays.
In 11th, it is the 8 machine of Eddie Morris 12th is TJ Floyd. He's got to win this season at iRacing Super Speedway. Michael Lawrence of 2 pedals, 1 clutch, starting 13th. Outside of him, it's the 09 of Michael White. And then rounding out your top 15, he's always there in the end. Never can count out Michael Provil in the 95.
16th, we got the 51 truck of Zachary Cox. 17th is Zach McBride. 18th is Todd Mays. 19th is Brooke Qualley. 20th is Nick Mather.
21st is going to be Intensity Broadcasting Zone Dave Wright. Outside of him is also a member of the Intensity Racing team, Josh Hall. 23rd is fan favorite Derek Shapoo. And then last but not least, it is none other than Keith Miller.
So Derek Shapoo starting in 23rd. I suppose he likes to challenge himself. He always finds a way to get to the front by the end of the race, by hook or by crook. So I guess we'll have to see if he can do that again tonight.
Yep. You can count out Derek Shapoo, and we always feel like we're saying his name at the end. In fact, sometimes we're screaming his name as he's up there at the front doing very, very well, but he's got a tall task of making his way up to the field. But the main drivers we're focused on coming to this start is your front row, Isaiah Gill on the bottom and Stephen Black on the top. Here we go. We're waiting for that pace car to pull into the pits, and that'll start our 100-lap race here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Isaiah Gill's going to take this green flag and get this race started alongside Stephen Black. We've seen these two race together plenty of times this season. They're going to do it again here.
Yep, pace car is in, and we are waiting for the red lights on the top of your screen to show. There we go. Green flag is out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We see Isaiah Gill, a little bit of a slower start, and Stephen Black, he's coming on the outside. Him and Colin Williams are able to get clear of Isaiah Gill, but right now Colin Williams is right on Stephen Black's back bumper. These two are playoff drivers battling to get into the Final Four. Colin Williams looking low under Black as we go here into turns 3 and 4.
You know, the green flag came out and Isaiah simply didn't go. And Stephen Black and Colin Williams caught him napping and took off. And we see Colin get around Stephen and take the lead. What a move on turns 3 and 4 for Colin. But Stephen Black's going to go to the bottom and possibly take it back here in turn 1.
Yeah, bit of a crossover there for Stephen Black. He's getting some great momentum here through turns 1 and 2, and I think he's going to maybe get back clear. Yeah, he does. Stephen Black back clear, back in the lead, and here we go. Here comes Isaiah Gill catching up to the top 2. You could throw a blanket over the top 3. Very, very close racing going on here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Colin Williams just trying to set up that pass on Stephen. I think we'll see him either look high or low in the next few laps to get back to first.
Isaiah Gill able to stick to the back of Colin and make this a 3-way race here. Joe Wright is a little bit further back, but still in the picture. The rest of these guys are starting to fall back as we have our leaders separate themselves a little bit here.
Yep, for sure. These drivers are running very, very closely. All of these drivers, last time I ran, their fastest lap times of the race. These trucks are at the fastest they're going to be for a while right now, and we're side by side for the lead. Here comes Colin Williams looking to the outside of Stephen Black. He's going to fall back behind him, but Colin Williams, any second now, he can make a move.
And just a note on these guys driving around this track, it might be difficult to tell just from watching, but they are barely, if at all, lifting off the throttle in these corners. You get so much grip at Las Vegas in these trucks. They are full throttle all the way around this track. They might have to lift just a little bit if they are side by side because the car will get a little bit tight. But for the most part, they're not lifting off the throttle. We'll see them start to lift a little when the tires start to wear. But really, this track is just full speed all the way around.
There we see some of the stats on Stephen Black, miles per hour, what gear he's in, how he's turning the wheel. As you can see, very, very smooth with the wheel. You'll see little spikes if he turns it hard on that little graph that you're seeing. But great job so far. Stephen Black able to hold off Colin Williams and Isaiah Gill, just trying to hold on to that lead. Colin Williams looking to the outside. We see Joe Wright has also joined this little battle for the lead. Joe Wright going to the outside. This is looking like a super speedway race. He's going to try to give Colin Williams a push to get by Stephen Black. Steven Black gets back clear, and Isaiah Gill almost makes contact with Colin Williams. This is some tight racing going on.
And Joe is just able to draft right up to these guys, and the draft is definitely a factor here at Las Vegas, especially in these trucks with the big spoilers. The car in front of you can disrupt the air and really create a vacuum for the car behind you to suck up through the draft and catch up quickly, and that's exactly what Joseph Wright did.
Here comes Colin Williams looking low under Steven Black. Wow, he's able to get back clear. We're seeing some tight racing between playoff drivers Colin Williams, Steven Black, and Isaiah Gill. And a non-playoff driver, Joe Wright, he's there as well, making some moves. Steven Black looking back under Colin Williams. These two have been going at it for a long time now for the lead. And I think Steven Black might try to get back clear here this time by... He's got the nose through 3 and 4. And yep, he gets back clear as we go onto the front stretch and cross the start-finish line.
Looks like the bottom is going to be the preferred lane when it's one car versus another car. But one thing that will change that is when we see cars together in a pack, almost like a super speedway race. If you get several cars on the high side, that momentum, that freight train, so to speak, can actually make the top line stronger. So as we move forward with this race and these guys start to strategize with one another, we'll have to see if that top line comes into play more.
Yeah, I know. We're going to see some strategy come into play at about 30 of 100 completed for maybe some green flag pit stops. I know everybody in all the team chats, Intensity Racing Team, Cyclone, Carolina Sim, 2 Pels, 1 Clutch, they're all going to be communicating with each other, trying to set up pitch strategy. We see Colin Williams looking to the high side once again, trying to get by Steven Black. These two have been just playing cat and mouse back and forth, and it's looking like it's going to continue. Colin Williams trying to make it 2 wins in a row, and Steven Black is going to try to add to his win count of tons of wins.
And Colin, I think, having a difficult time being patient here, and you can't blame him. The way the racing at this track is, he's plenty fast, and with the draft, he just catches right up to Steven on the backstretch and feels like he's got enough momentum to try to make a pass, but Steven doing a great job blocking the bottom, and so Colin having to go high just isn't able to get it done. So lap after lap, he's almost having to back off a little bit because he knows he can't pass Steven, but he also catches right up to the back of him. So difficult to be patient in a situation like that.
Yeah, backing off here at Las Vegas is going to hurt you tremendously. The main thing about Las Vegas that you got to remember is this is a momentum track. Lose that momentum and you are going to be done in whatever battle you're going through. So lift a little bit. Right now, when these drivers are flat out, that's going to hurt you tremendously. The same thing if you're on a super speedway and you suck up to somebody and you lift. Of course, that's going to prevent you from hitting the back end of the driver in front of you, but it's going to slow you down and allow some of the other drivers to pass you by. So keeping that momentum is going to be key here at Las Vegas.
We do have a battle for 4th place. Devin Buccino has run down Isaiah Gill, and these guys are side by side.
Yeah, great racing. Devin Buccino, we know he was fast in practice, and the car seems to be finally coming in for him. They're side by side as we cross the line. Buccino with the nose. That would have been a great photo finish right there. But let's see if he can get a great run on the bottom. He does. Devin Buccino up in front of Isaiah Gill. He's now going to set his sights on 3rd place, Joe Wright. Look back here at this lead. Steven Black actually is starting to extend his lead a little bit over Colin Williams in 2nd. Let's see if he can maybe try to get it to a 2nd. I know once Steven Black gets a big lead, it's hard to catch back up to him.
Yeah, and one thing that Steven is really good at, we've seen it time and time again, he manages his equipment, his tires, his fuel. He's always very on top of those things, and he was racing Colin really hard, but still, Colin may have scrubbed his tires a little bit more than Steven. And now that we're approaching the midway point of this green flag run, you might see a little bit of a tire advantage for Steven Black.
Yeah, saving tires is going to be key here at Las Vegas because when these fresh tires when you get the fresh shoes, I mean, it's going to help you tremendously. So trying to keep the tires as fresh as possible is going to be key for these drivers, because you're going to lose speed very, very quick already. These drivers are almost a second off of their best time, continuing to slow down as Steve Black is just continuing to extend his lead. We do see Devin Buccino catching the draft and is beginning to suck up to third place. Joe Wright, in fact, he's looking low right now. I think we're going to see a great battle for third coming up in just a sec.
Devin taking a very shallow entry into the corners, whereas Joe is starting higher and kind of rolling it down more gradually to the bottom of the turn. That tells me that Devin has more grip right now. He's able to just kind of direct his car straight to the bottom and hold it there without moving up the racetrack, whereas Joe is having to kind of angle it a little bit more, be a little bit more gradual about it. So that's going to give Devin the advantage, at least until his tires lose grip as they wear.
And that's going to hurt Joe running that line, because as you can see, it's going to allow, when he's up there up top, it's going to allow Devin Buccino to kind of peek under him in the turns. We did see him get under him in turns 1 and 2, but he's still behind him. Joe probably looking in the rear view mirror right now, trying to block and play defense right now. Buccino trying to send it here in turns 1 and 2, looking low under Joe. He's about to his rear quarter panel, almost to his door.
Joe's getting a great corner exit on the high side here, and it's enough to stay in front of Devin that time. And it's going to take Devin a lap or two to set up another attempt, I think.
I agree. I think we're going to see Devin Buccino probably take shots at Joe for a while. Joe doing a great job playing defense. He's able to hold Devin Buccino off. But there we see Devin Buccino looking under him again here in turns 1 and 2. And he almost has the nose as we go onto the back stretch. Ooh.
Atlee, I think Joe would rather stay in third place.
I agree. Even though the fact that Joe is not actually in the playoffs, so he really doesn't have too much to lose. He's just trying to get a good finish here, and looks like he's actually beginning to start to... Oh, no, yellow flag is out. What in the world? Wait, I believe this is the stage break. Let me look.
Yeah, it does look like the admin has turned this yellow.
Yep, this is the stage break. So, finishing the stage, your top 10 is Stephen Black, Colin Willems, Joe Wright, Devin Buccino, Isaiah Gill, Kyle Mays, Cody Moore, Eddie Morris, Michael White, and TJ Floyd. And all of these drivers are going to be getting stage points, which will definitely help, especially the playoff drivers in their journey to try to make it into the Final Four and win the championship.
And Atlee, I imagine we're going to see pit road become a busy place here, as these guys are 22 laps in. We speculated that a green flag run would be about 30 laps. So we saw them drop about a second off of their lap times. So if they do choose to stay out, they're going to be at a big disadvantage compared to people that pit. So I imagine we're going to see everybody come down.
I don't know. I think we might see two sides to the story. I think we're going to see a few people stay out, but I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Your leader, Stephen Black, is going into the pits, and it's looking like pretty much all of the top 5 is going in. And I'm going to go to my pit road cam so we can see everybody. No, it's looking like everybody's going in.
Yeah, pace car looks rather lonely up there on the tri-oval.
Yep, so everybody's coming in, getting some fuel, getting some tires, and all in all just reloading, refueling, and let's see who's going to win the race off. That'll determine who is going to be in first.
You see Isaiah there with the very first pit stall, or very last pit stall, I guess you could say. Steven going to easily win this race off pit road.
Then it's Devin Buccino, so it's Steve Black, Devin Buccino, Kyle Mays, Isaiah Gill, and then TJ Floyd off of pit road. So, awesome job for everybody. I know all the pit crews are probably high-fiving right now, and it takes a good pit stop, a good pit crew to really be where you are. Of course, the pit crews are virtual, but You got to really, really rely on those AIs to help you out. See, Cassie Willems on Facebook says, let's go Colin. Colin Willems lost a ton of spots on pit road. He fell to 7th. So we're going to see if he can make his way up through the field. Right now I want to talk about our biggest move of the race after everybody comes off of pit road, and that's actually going to be your 3rd place driver, Kyle Mays. Kyle started the race in 10th, and he stayed in the top 10 ever since the start, has been battling. We haven't really seen too much of him, but restarting in the top 5, I think we're going to see him do really, really well and try to stay in the top 5. Lights are off on the pace car, getting ready to go back green. We're going to have Stephen Black restarting on the bottom and Devin Buccino restarting on the top.
Now, we saw Stephen Black start on the high side on the initial start of the race and get a great jump and ultimately take the lead. I think Devin's going to have a harder time doing that simply because Stephen controls this restart in a way that the leader was not able to control the first start. But still, we've seen the ability for the high side to get a great restart no matter what the leader does. So Devin will be looking to try to anticipate when Stephen launches and hopefully stick with him.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting game here on this restart to see who is going to get the advantage. It's very, very hard to get in a run advantage on these restarts here in the Iowa Truck Series because the leader controls the start, and you can get a pretty big run by controlling the start, but other times you can see the outside get a great start sometimes, and we'll see if that's the case here with Devin Buccino. We're waiting for that pace car to pull in. Yep. Pace car drops off. And green flag is back out. We see Stephen Black taking off. Devin Buccino falls in line in 2nd. Kyle Mays in 3rd. Now it's going to be a game here for Devin Buccino to reel back in Stephen Black and not let him get away. He's got to make a pass fast on Stephen Black because he is under attack from Kyle Mays. Mays right on Buccino's back bumper as we go here on to the back stretch. We see the cars fanning out behind them.
And like you said, Stephen Black can take off and leave the rest of the field in a hurry. Kyle Mays with a sense of urgency in 3rd place. He's a playoff driver that doesn't want to see Stephen make a runaway with this race, so he's going to be looking to get around Devin as soon as he can.
Yep, he's trying to reel him in. He hasn't gotten the gap between him and Black under 2/10 since the green flag came out. But again, he's got to make a pass fast because Kyle Mays is looking to try to make a pass here in the next few laps. Oh, here comes Joe Wright looking to the outside of Kyle Mays. He got a ton of momentum, and now he's looking low under 2nd. Devin Buccino. Joe is fast right now, flying up through the field like a rocket, and he's now setting his sights on your leader, Joe Wright. Wow. I mean, your leader, Stephen Black. Wow, Joe Wright. Very, very impressive. He's now side by side, looking to the outside. Where has this speed came from?
It's like he found some extra horsepower, Atlee. I don't know. It's out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Joseph Wright is by far the fastest truck on the track, and he is just leaving these guys in the dust. Colin Willems, we saw him start back in 7th. He is around Stephen as well. I don't know if these guys are – I'm not sure, Atlee. They seem fast, though.
Yeah, right now, your top 3 is running about 0.5 faster than 4th. I don't know if it's I really don't know. This is very, very mind-boggling on why Cody Moore, Joe Wright, and Colin Willems are way faster than everybody else, but we do see a battle for the lead. Colin Willems is looking low under Joe Wright.
Atlee, I'm wondering if these guys took tires and the rest of the field did fuel only, which could explain why Colin fell back several spots on pit road. They certainly have a clear advantage over the rest of the field. So, I don't know. I'm wondering.
You know, that could be true. I think that might be the case for these drivers because fresh tires compared to old tires at a track like Las Vegas is like night and day, and I think that's what we're seeing here, especially with Joe Wright and Colin Willems, who these two, with the fresh tires, they are battling for the lead right now. Joe Wright trying his best to hold him off. Colin Williams has looked to the high side. He's looked to the low side, trying anything to get clear of Joe Wright, but he just hasn't been able to pass the 82.
And we're seeing that it's just difficult to pass the leader when it's only one-on-one like this, and you have to resort to trying to go on the high side. We saw it earlier with Steven and Colin, and now Colin and Joe. Very similar.
Looks like Joe Wright is blinking tremendously. That's going to cause some trouble for Colin Williams, who's trying to make a pass on him. He's going to look to the high side once again here in 3 and 4, trying to see if that's how he's going to be able to make the pass on Joe, but he can't get up to his rear quarter panel.
Probably feels like deja vu for Colin. He was in this position just a few laps ago, stuck behind the leader, unable to make a pass.
Yeah, with Stephen Black.
David Wright up to third place behind them. He started this race in 21st, so clearly a big jump for him as he's found his way all the way up to the podium position in third.
Yeah, I don't know if he also decided to take tires in the pits, but here he is up into the top 3, and he's looking to catch up to his brother and Colin Williams. We see Williams taking a shot down low under Joe Wright, trying to see if that's how he's going to be able to get by that 82. Can't quite get the nose over him.
Still, having the bottom preferred lane is going to do favors for Colin. Joseph Wright was trying not to give him that lane, but Colin was able to get under him this lap, and I think he might not be able to fully take the position here, although I think he is going to lead this lap by just a hair. But by the time we get to the backstretch here, he might be able to pull in front of Joe and take the lead.
Yep, he's got the nose as we go here through turns 1 and 2. But there we go. They're back again, equal side by side, and Dave Wright is loving this, having them side by side, because you're slower when you're running side by side with someone else. So while they're running side by side, it's going to allow Dave to continue to reel them in and maybe join the party here in the next couple of laps here for this battle for the lead.
And it would certainly be great to see Dave run up here and compete for a win and get a top 3 finish. I don't know that we've had a chance to speak to him this season. He's another guy who's here almost every week racing hard, and it's really good to see him up here having a great run.
Yeah, he has had a bit of a rough season. Have gotten in a lot of incidents that weren't really his fault, and he's just going to continue to try to work hard in these races, and eventually I think all his hard work is going to pay off. Colin Williams just continuing to try to make the pass on Joe Wright. He hasn't been able to get clear over him, and these two have been battling for a long time. Joe Wright just playing some great defense.
Yeah, you know, when Colin was on the high side, he couldn't pass Joe, and now that Colin's on the low side, he still can't quite pass Joe. So that just shows how strong Joseph is, how fast he is, high and low. He's putting this truck where it needs to be to get around this track quickly. So great battle between these two as they just can't quite work it out amongst themselves.
Here comes Dave Wright. He is moving to the high side to give his brother a push to get back ahead of Colin Williams, and we see Joe is able to get back clear. Now can Dave Wright get by Colin Williams for second?
I think Joseph Wright's going to owe his brother one there. Definitely an assist, getting Joseph cleanly in front of Colin and with a comfortable 2/10 lead now. David able to get around Colin as well, so it's the Wright family in first and second.
Yep, Dave Wright now chasing his brother. Little sibling rivalry battle for the lead almost. This should be an exciting one. We'll see what happens. He's just continuing to try to set up the pass, trying to reel him in. I don't know where Dave is going to try to make the pass, whether he's going to look to the high side or look to the low side. Neither worked for Colin Williams, and oh no! Dave Wright tags the wall, and Colin Williams taking advantage of that mistake. He looks to the high side of Dave and gets back clear. We see Dave has severe right side damage on that machine. There we see the right rear and the right front very, very scraped up. That definitely hurt him, and he's continuing to just fall behind from your top two.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. He's going to have a hard time maintaining the pace of these leaders with that damage. These trucks can be pretty sensitive, especially at a track like this, where you are barely lifting off the throttle, and aerodynamics and downforce are so important. So Dave, he might have to end up getting himself a fast repair at his next pit stop to clean up that damage so that he can get that truck up to the speed it needs to be at.
We see Zach McBride, Cody Moore going at it for that fourth spot. These two have clear track in front of them as the gap between fourth and third is 3 seconds. Zach McBride almost clear of Cody Moore, and he does end up getting clear. Cody Moore falls a position to fourth, and now he's actually starting to get under attack from Nick Mather and Josh Hall, who are flying up through the field like rockets.
Nick Mather currently in 6th position, making moves, as you said. He started this race in about 20th place. Josh Hall started in 22nd. So these guys have been aggressive, and they've been making moves, and it doesn't look like they're going to stop anytime soon.
I don't know if this is green flag pit strategy or what, but we see Zachary Cox come into the pits. I don't know what he is going to try to do to that machine. Let's take a look. Is he going to take tires?
Doesn't look like it.
No, looks like it's going to be gas and go and maybe get some damage fixed as well for Zachary Cox. Interesting decision to come in. We'll see if it pays off for him. We see continuing to run side by side as Josh Hall and Nick Mather. This is for that 6th spot, and these two are also beginning to catch. Oh, we see Nick Mather throws himself right in front of Josh Hall, blocking him as hard as he can, and these two are chugging along to get up there to Cody Moore in 5th. Ooh, we also see Colin Willems beginning to reel back in Joe Wright for the lead. These two were battling for a long time, and then we see Colin Willems kind of fell off a little bit, but here he is coming back.
Joseph Wright, unfortunately, doesn't have his brother to draft with now. It's just Joe and Colin by their lonesome. 2 seconds in front of 3rd place, almost 5 seconds in front of 4th place now. So this race is really going to be between them for the time being. And we've seen Joseph do a fantastic job racing defensively. And right now, Colin's still in 2nd place.
Yeah, so far these two have been battling for a long time, and Joe has been able to hold off Colin for most of the time, but I don't know. I think Colin Willems, we might see him get some speed later on and potentially get by Joe Wright. I'll be interested to see if we'll get a good battle here coming up between these two.
So now that we are speculating that a lot of these guys haven't taken tires yet, Atlee, you see the difference on this restart and how much of a lead these guys have built over the rest of the field. You see how important tires can be. And I wonder if we're going to see the reverse happen later in this race when some of these drivers have an extra set of tires left in the event of a late caution, which could really shake up this field.
Yeah, Stephen Black restarted in 1st on that last restart, and all of a sudden we saw a bunch of cars pass him one by one until he fell all the way to 8th. Devin Buccino, he restarted outside of him. He's in 9th. So I believe your top 7, Josh Hall, Nick Mather, Cody Moore, Zach McBride, Dave Wright, Colin Willems, and Joe Wright all are currently on fresh tires. And it's definitely showing as they are a lot faster than everybody else. Look back.
And these mid-pack cars who didn't pit, Atlee, they've got about 50 laps now on their tires, which is definitely a lot at Las Vegas. They're most likely having to lift in these corners noticeably, and that's going to really set them back as compared to the guys on fresher tires that still don't have to do that.
Yeah, Stephen Black is about a second slower than his fastest lap time, a little bit more than a second actually, and I don't know if he's going to be coming in for tires anytime soon. Time will tell, and I don't know what's going on in the heads of all of these other drivers as well who are continuing to stay out and took tires last pit stop.
Looks like we see Brian Merle Jr. about to go a lap down. That's a tough break for him. It can be difficult to make up a lap at this track because it's only a mile and a half, and unfortunately for him, he's going to go a lap down and temporarily at least be in the lucky dog position.
And this isn't good for Brian because he is below the cutoff currently in the playoff standings. He needs a good finish if he wants a chance to make it into the Final Four, and finishing a lap down is not going to help him. So we'll see if Brian will be able to claw his way back onto the lead lap. We see Michael White coming in to the pits as well. Interesting decision by him. Let's see what he's going to do. He does have a little bit of damage, but I'm interested to see if he is going to take tires or not. Yep, he's taking tires, so we'll see how much difference fresh rubber is going to make for Michael White, and we'll see if he's going to be able to fly up through the field and get his lap back.
Going back to Brian Jr. and the need for these 8 playoff drivers to have a good run, keep in mind that next week we are at Talladega, which is a complete wild card. You never have any idea what's going to happen at Talladega International Speedway, and to go into that race needing a win is a very difficult position to be in, because it just always comes down to that last lap, and you never know if you're going to be in position to win or not. So really, all 8 of these guys would love to be in a position to get in the Final Four based on points and not necessarily need a win next week. So consistency and a great run tonight is really the name of the game for all of our playoff drivers.
Big news right here. Stephen Black, Devin Buccino, Kyle Mays, TJ Floyd, Keith Miller, and Michael Lawrence all are coming into the pits, and that is going to be big news for your top 3, as they're going to have to be paying attention to the strategy now. We see Zach McBride, Brooke Qualley, Stoney Benfield, Isaiah Gill coming in. We're seeing a flood of cars come in to take fresh tires, and I think a lot of these cars were drivers who, stayed out last time. And here comes Joe Wright coming into the pits now. This is interesting. Cody Moore.
And what will be interesting with Joe Wright is, will he take tires again? Because if he does, that might be his last set of the evening. So that we might see him take fuel only here. And if so, the script will be flipped. He will now have the older tires, whereas guys like Stephen Black have fresh tires.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see.
Fuel only, I think.
Yeah, I don't see the tires lifting up. I think he's only taking fuel. So very, very interesting decision. We see Derek Shapoo come in. Colin Willems, who inherited the lead when Joe came in, he is now pitting as well to, I believe, either take tires or fuel. I don't know. So there's only 2 drivers that haven't came in yet. Michael Provolt and Sylvain Seguin. And we see Michael Provolt making that hard left turn. And he almost gets it loose. So the last driver that needs to come in is Sylvain Seguin. I don't know how long he's going to be able to stay out. We see Kyle Mays coming up on him, trying to get his lap back. We see Sylvain tags the wall a little bit. I think the car might be starting to get a little bit tight for him with those old tires.
Yeah, certainly got away from him in that corner, and you see Sylvain duck it straight down to the apron. He's coming on pit road to get off those tires.
Yep, so when everything comes around, Joe Wright is going to be inheriting the lead. So it looks like Joe's pit strategy is looking to be paying off for him. He's going to have to hold on to the lead, though. We do see a big battle currently for third between Zach McBride and Colin Willems. Or no, Zach McBride's Zach McBride, he's ahead of Cody Moore, and here comes Colin Willems. It's side by side for third. Willems with the nose, and he gets back clear of Zach McBride. Behind them, it's Cody Moore, Stephen Black. Stephen Black looking low under Zach McBride for, I believe that is the 4th spot now. No, 3rd spot.
And if you're wondering, how did Stephen Black suddenly catch Colin Willems? Don't forget that Stephen Black pitted about 1, maybe 2 laps before Colin did, and you see the difference when you can run those 2 laps on fresh tires versus the older tires that Colin had. Stephen Black, also very talented, getting on and off pit road as quickly as possible. He's able to make up a ton of time during that pit cycle, and he finds himself right behind Colin Williams for second place, only 3 seconds now behind Joseph Wright, our leader.
Yeah, and Steven is reeling Colin in fast right now. Can he get up there to the back bumper? We will see, and we'll see how he's going to try to make the pass. And I think we'll see a pass definitely in the next couple of laps. Steven looking low. Trying to get to that rear quarter panel of Colin Williams. Can't quite get under him. And he's going to continue to stay behind him. So we saw Stephen Black take a little shot there. And I think we'll continue to see him try to make moves for the lead here in the next couple of laps. I mean, for second the next couple of laps.
And they are catching Joe Wright very quickly. They're only a second back now. And they're going to get around him pretty easily, I believe, because Colin and Steven both are on fresh tires. Colin, I think, might be out of tires now as he took his second set, whereas Joseph is saving that final set for a potential caution at the end of the race, and Stephen Black will have one in the pits as well.
I don't know. Besides the stage caution, it's been a pretty clean race. We haven't seen any cautions come out so far. It's been a relatively clean race for these drivers, and I applaud them. It's been a lot of give and take and some great racing. We do see the battle continue for the lead. Stephen Black looks high. He looks low now under Colin Williams. He has the nose now over Colin Williams.
And you can set aside the last 30 laps or so, Atlee, because we are right back to where we were in laps 1 through 15. It's Colin Williams on the high side, Stephen Black on the low side by side for the lead.
Yep, right now they're pretty much equal as we go onto the backstretch. Love the awesome battles going on here for the lead between these two. And these two are also playoff drivers, so this race could determine who makes it to the Final Four and maybe who even wins the championship. This is a very, very important battle between these two, and we'll see who's going to end up winning it as Stephen Black barely has the nose as we cross the line. And, he gets a great run here through turns 1 and 2. Does he get clear? He almost got clear, but Colin Williams comes back on the outside here on the backstretch.
These guys seemingly synchronized in the way that they're approaching these corners side by side, really doing a great job hitting their marks. And right now, neither one of them can clearly set themselves apart from the other. They both seem to be about equally fast right now.
I agree with that. I mean, last time by, they were only 300ths apart from their lap time. So running very, very close together. I think these two are going to be battling for a long time. But, Stephen Black getting a very, very good run on the bottom. He almost got clear of Colin Williams there.
You see Cody Moore just behind them, lurking in third place. Still about 1 second behind them, although that was about a second and a half a couple laps ago. So he is catching these guys, benefiting from them being side by side battling.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if they join the party for this battle. And speaking of this battle, I mean, once again, it's definitely off of exit of 4. We see Black gets almost clear, and then Colin Williams comes back on the outside. Same thing on exit of 2. Stephen Black has very good turn speed, but Colin Williams is showing that he's very good on the straightaways. Man. This is, extremely synchronized. These two are doing a great job battling, and as we cross the line here, Colin Williams is actually getting a little bit of a run here on the outside as we go into turns 1 and 2.
Cody Moore in third, continuing to catch these guys at about 1/10 of a second per lap. 0.630 seconds behind at the start-finish line that time by. So it should only be a couple more laps that he's going to catch these guys, especially as he gets closer. He'll get more and more of their draft.
Yep, and I mean, once you catch the draft, you're going to suck up really, really fast and get thrust right into the action. I think we're going to see that happen to Cody Moore in the next few laps as he continues to try to reel in Stephen Black. And Colin Willems is able to get that clear of Stephen Black. Stephen Black, I don't know what happened in the battle, but he's slowed down a little bit, and Colin Willems is actually beginning to extend his lead a little bit.
Yeah, Stephen may have decided to back out of it, didn't want to use up his tires too much, battling Colin this early with about 30 laps to go. Or maybe Colin was able to finally get a clear advantage and get by him. Either way, Colin already 0.3 of a second ahead of Stephen Black.
We do have another battle. Nick Mather's beginning to catch Brooke Qualley for 7th. Both of them are big movers. We see Brooke, she gained 12 spots, started in 19th, and Nick Mather gained 12 spots. He started in 20th. So we're definitely seeing a lot of big movers up in the top 10 right now. Colin Willems just continuing to extend that lead right now over Stephen Black. And I don't know. I think Stephen might have gone into tire savings mode a little bit, trying to see if that'll set him apart a little bit from Colin Willems. In the end, there's still a lot of race left, 30 laps, and we'll see if it'll play in Stephen Black's favor. Eventually, do see a little battle going on from 9th. TJ Floyd has the nose over Zach McBride, and he's almost clear. He just flew right by TJ Floyd. Yep, he gets clear into 9th now, and the field is getting pretty spread out. I think this is a good opportunity to pump up the intensity. Welcome back. There was a pump up the intensity for you, and we are actually seeing a little bit of pit strategy going on. Zachary Cox comes in and actually takes some tires, so we'll see how much of a difference that's going to make for him in that number 51 machine. Let's see if he can maybe fly up through the field and maybe even get his lap back from Colin Willems, who has a 6/10 lead right now over Stephen Black. The field continuing to get very spread out. One driver that I'm watching currently make his way up to the field is TJ Floyd. Right now he's trying to make it by Nick Mather for 8th. He just passed Keith Miller and Zach McBride a little while ago. And there you have it. We see TJ Floyd able to get clear and into that 8th spot. And oh my gosh! Your leader, Colin Willems, coming into the pits with 26 laps to go.
And Natalie, you and I were just speculating off the air during Pump Up the Intensity that these guys, we weren't sure if they could make it on fuel or not. I think Colin is answering our question for us as he comes in and tops off on fuel. And I presume this was because they couldn't make it to the end.
Yeah, we also see Michael White following in Colin's tire tracks. So now, and also here comes Cody Moore in as well. I think we're going to see a flock of cars start to come in this time by with Colin coming in. That's going to give Stephen Black the lead right now. The question is, will he come in or can he stay out for the rest of the race? I don't think he is based on what we're seeing so far.
It seems pretty clear that these guys believe that they need to come in for fuel one more time. And Stephen Black is coming in now. He's headed toward the pits.
Yep, we see Nick Mather, Josh Hall, Dave Wright coming in, and there we go. Your leader, Stephen Black, coming in. Devin Buccino following behind him into the pits as well. And, ooh, interesting play. Kyle Mays is going to stay out a little bit longer than everybody else. See Brooke Qualley coming in, Keith Miller coming in, Joe Wright, Zach McBride.
And I believe most of these guys are taking tires here to the extent they have any left. I'm not sure if Colin did or not, because we know that he took tires on his 2 previous pit stops.
I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell for Colin Willems. But still, Kyle Mays continuing to stay out. That was a very, very risky and interesting decision for him to keep it out a lot longer than everybody else. We'll see if it's going to pay off for him in the long run.
And assuming that Kyle doesn't know something that we don't know, and he is also going to need to get fuel like the rest of these guys, I imagine he's banking on a caution to give him track position and trap some of these other guys a lap down.
As you see, he's finally coming in to the pits, and that's going to give the lead to the 49 of TJ Floyd. He's got 1 win this season. He knows strategy. He knows how to have a good pit strategy as he's got to win this season. And let's see when he's going to come in. TJ Floyd just continuing to stay out. Only him, Isaiah Gill, Stoney Binfield, Michael Provolt, Todd Mays, and Derek Shapoo have yet to come in.
Isaiah Gill, as you mentioned, up to second place with this in the midst of this pit cycle. He was our pole sitter, faded back rather quickly, and haven't heard much from him. A relatively quiet race from Isaiah Gill, but putting himself in position now to perhaps have this fuel strategy go his way with a late pit stop. We'll have to wait and see.
There is Michael Provolt coming into the pits. So that's just going to leave 5 cars that need to come in. There we see TJ Floyd making that hard left turn onto pit road. Let's see if anybody else follows in behind him. No, Isaiah Gill is going to continue to stay out. He must know something that we don't, as we see Todd Mays also coming in behind TJ Floyd. Isaiah Gill just really trying to stretch out that fuel and tire run as long as he possibly can.
He's got about 18 more laps to go. I don't know if he'll be able to save that much. That feels like a lot compared to the rest of these guys.
Yep, it's going to be 19 laps to go this time by. It's definitely going to be difficult for Isaiah, and I'm interested to see right now what is going through his head right now. We see Sylvan Seguin, Derek Shapoo finally coming in, so that's just going to leave him and Stoney Binfield as the 2 drivers that still need to come in. Time will tell for Isaiah Gill, and there we go. We see him slowing down and coming into the pits, making that hard left turn, and Stoney Binfield following behind him. So can they do their pit stop and still come out in front of Cody Moore? I do not think so. Yep, Cody Moore is going to inherit the lead. These are going to be the first laps that he has led all race long, and this definitely has to feel good for Cody after having a very, very long hiatus from racing here in the iOS Truck Series.
And Cody was able to dive down pit road 1 or 2 laps before Colin and Steven, and that has enabled him to get in front of those guys and leapfrog them. But you just see Stephen Black easily and commandingly get by Colin Williams with ease, and he's now going to set his sights on Cody Moore, and it appears he's going to track him down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't think Colin Williams took an extra set of tire, and you're seeing that now, and I don't think Cody Moore did either. It's looking like Stephen Black has a very big advantage compared to everybody else. I think he took tires when he came in.
Yeah, Stephen Black definitely took tires this time. I think anybody who had tires left took them. It was just a question of who took tires earlier in the race and who had them left. And it seems that Stephen Black's strategy is paying off right before our eyes.
Yep, I bet he is loving this right now, seeing him just fly by cars with relative ease. We do see a battle currently for, I believe this is the 7th spot. Joe Wright is currently under attack from both Stephen Black and Michael White, who are side by side. Looks like we see an unscheduled pit stop for Sylvain Seguin. I'm not sure. Looks like he might not have been able to make it on fuel, so he's going to have to come back in again after coming in a little bit earlier. That's a shame for Sylvain, who actually had a great starting position.
Yeah, somehow he got knocked off a pit cycle. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but tough break for him, as that's going to set him back 1 or maybe even 2 laps.
We see Devin Buccino able to make it by Colin Williams. Yeah, Colin Williams definitely didn't take tires when he came in. As you can see, everybody else is just flying by him. We see also Brian Merle Jr. coming in. Brian also has had a rough race, and you hate to see it for him because of the fact that he is currently below the cutoff here in the playoffs, and one bad race might prevent him from making it into the Final Four. Definitely hate to see it for him.
Stephen Black looking like he's going to put Isaiah Gill a lap down. Isaiah Gill initially started this race on the pole, so you got to believe Isaiah was hoping for a better showing tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes.
We see Joe Wright and Nick Mather going at it for that 7th spot. We saw Joe Wright lead some laps in about midway through this race, and he's still in the top 10, and right now fighting with Nick Mather for that 7th spot. Nick just trying to set up the pass. We'll see whether he looks high or looks low and trying to pass Joe here. Nick is a playoff driver. Actually, no, he's not anymore. He was in the round of 12, but he was eliminated. He still has that playoff banner on. So both of these drivers are not in the playoffs, so they got nothing to lose here in this battle.
Devin Buccino just got around Cody Moore for 2nd place as they battled in the midst of lap-down traffic. So that puts Devin Buccino in 2nd, and he's about 3 seconds behind Stephen Black. It's going to be a tall order to try to run down Stephen with only 11 laps to go, but still, moving up to 2nd place, Devin Buccino.
Yeah, Stephen is barely in the frame here, looking in Devin's windshield. There you see he's that black car you see that's just going into turns 3 and 4 right now. I don't know if Devin Buccino is going to be able to reel in Stephen Black. Time will tell.
Yeah, one thing Devin has to his advantage is just some of these lap cars behind him putting together a little bit of a draft, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Since the time that we started talking about him and he's run about 3 laps, he has not caught Stephen at all. So unless something changes, it seems to be a little bit too much for Devin to make up in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, Stephen Black just always seems to be a genius when it comes to pit strategy, and we are definitely seeing that today here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What a race it's been for him. Of course, he still has 9 laps left to try to secure this win, and anything can happen in 9 laps. I've seen crazier things happen, but I don't know. Right now, it's looking like he's the favorite to get this win here tonight. We continue to watch this very close battle for 2nd right now between Joe Wright and Nick Mather. Nick Mather just continuing to try to set up the pass, and once again, I'm wondering whether he's going to try to look to the high side or the low side when trying to get by Joe. And we see Zachary Cox coming into the pits for an unscheduled pit stop. He has a little bit of damage. I don't know if he got into a wreck or what.
Yeah, certainly not a scheduled pit stop with only 7 laps to go. That's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's definitely had a rough race for sure, but again, you just got to shake off these rough races and try to get a better finish next race. Here we see Kyle Mays looking under Colin Willems for 4th. Kyle Mays catching the draft from Eddie Morris, and he's taking advantage of that. Oh my gosh, we are 3 wide right now between Kyle Mays and Colin Willems, and then Eddie Morris, the lap car. But Kyle Mays able to make it to 4th right now as Colin Willems continues to lose spot after spot after spot, as he is much slower than everybody else because I believe he did not take tires during that last pit stop, and I believe Cody Moore didn't either.
Well, if you're Stephen Black now with only 6 laps to go, a comfortable 3.6 second lead over second place, all you're hoping is that these guys keep the truck under him, no spins, no contact, no rough racing. Everybody keep calm and deliver this thing home. Stephen Black, clean track in front of him, no lap traffic or anything to mess with. This has been a clinic for Stephen as he's navigated the pit cycles, navigated the traffic around him, and come out clean with open racetrack in front of him and behind him with about 5 laps to go.
Yep, as he crossed the line, it just hit 5 laps to go for Stephen Black, and that's going to mean when he crosses the line next time by, it's going to be 4 to go, and that's going to mean only 16 more turns for Stephen Black.
And you know Stephen's got to be counting them down at this point. One of the hardest things when you've got a big lead like this with a few laps to go is it just seems like each lap is an eternity, and you just feel it deep down that something's going to go wrong. So Stephen, I'm sure, can't wait to see these laps tick by.
I know last season Steve Black had some terrible luck with cautions coming out, but he's had pretty decent luck so far this season. We continue to watch this battle for 7th. TJ Floyd was able to make it by Joe Wright, but Joe Wright just trying to catch back up to him. All of these drivers that are battling here for 7th are not playoff drivers, so they got nothing to lose, you could say. Nick Mather to the outside, trying to see if that's how he's going to be able to get by Joe Wright here for 8th. Almost to the rear quarter panel. Yeah, he's there to the rear quarter panel. They continue to stay side by side. Mather now with the nose, and he's getting a great run. Ooh, Joe Wright a little bit squirrely, and Nick Mather slides into 8th.
Yeah, some real close racing here. Door to door there for a second. Looks like Nick's going to get the advantage.
But all
and
eyes
I believe
right
Stephen
now.
Black is going to kind of take the white flag here.
Yep, there we go. White flag for Stephen Black. He's just got 4 more turns than he needs to complete, and he is going to get his 6th win of the season. Let's watch a lap here from his cockpit. Holding it down on the yellow, white line, bounces up to the top, almost to the wall here on the back stretch. He's going to take it back down to the white line here. And wow. Stephen Black gets win number 6 here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and is going to punch his ticket into the Final 4.
Devin Buccino is going to bring it home in second, and rounding out our podium, Cody Moore with his return to iRacing Oval Series, 3rd place tonight here at Las Vegas.
4th is going to be Kyle Mays, and then he was able to hang on to it. Colin Willems will take 5th.
Brooke Qualley, I talked about her making her iRacing Oval Series debut here in the Truck Series. 6th place, a fantastic showing for Brooke.
And here we go. We are seeing Stephen Black burn it down, a well-deserved burnout for him. I mean, what a race he had. He showed us, I mean, it's crazy how much of a genius it is Stephen Black is when it comes to pit strategy. It always seems like he has like an extra tank or something compared to everybody else, but it's not it. It's because he's so good at saving tires and fuel. And there you go. He's going to manually disconnect. So we are getting excited here for the driver interviews. I'm excited to talk to all of the top 3 finishers to see, what kind of race it was for everybody.
Yep, it's just as soon as Devin and Cody stop arguing on the radio about something to do with a lap car, they'll hopefully jump in our booth here and we'll be able to talk to them.
Yeah, hopefully. We do see, we see some amazing burnouts. Who is that? I see somebody's doing burnouts. And that's Brooke Qualley doing burnouts for the 6th place finish in pit road.
Another truck, a couple trucks. There's Nick doing some. I think it's catching on.
Yep, we're seeing burnout fever going on here on pit road as we wait for everybody to get into the waiting room.
There's got to be some kind of NASCAR violation. I'm not sure.
Michael White is in the grass, and poor grounds crew. They're going to have to clean up all these skid marks and everything. And, we see Cody Moore, fan favorite Cody Moore, is in the waiting room. So let's go ahead and pull him in and talk to him. Here we go. Cody, this is Atlee and Dylan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I do. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good, and man, looks like you were doing pretty good out there yourself. We did see you took a little bit of a hiatus from racing here in the iRacing Oval Series, but you come back and get a top 3 finish. Started in 3rd. We saw you in the top 5 for most of the race. You have a pretty interesting pit strategy on that final pit stop. When you came in, you did not take tires. You took tires a little bit earlier, so you had a few cars passing you, but still you were able to hang on to that 3rd spot. Just give us a little rundown of what was your strategy here in this race.
So in this race, I literally had no strategy. I had no idea what I was doing out there. I got a little help from Joe Wright in the beginning, so that put me back to like 15th. Fought my way up at the stage. Decided to take 4 tires at the stage. It's probably the wrong decision. And then on my next pit stop, I ended up taking right sides. So that left me a set of left sides that I took at the 2nd pit stop. And let me tell you, taking left sides only makes a tight truck even tighter. It was not fun.
Cody, this is Dylan. We've seen cautions in most races this season here in iRacing Oval Series. Tonight, the only caution we saw was for the stage break thrown by the admin. A very, very clean and green flag race tonight. Was that what you were expecting coming into it?
Yeah, it's all about the field sizes. If you it seems that if you get the 20 to 25 cars in a field, it just makes the racing so much better. We saw this last year in the championship race at Vegas that went green. I think that really factors into it.
For sure. Well, still, awesome run for you getting that 3rd place finish. Is there anybody you would like to thank before we let you go?
Of course. First and foremost, I want to thank Todd Mays, Uncle Todd. We love him. Stephen Black for being my teammate in Cup. Colin Willems, Nick Mather for being my teammate in Trucks. Michael Falk Designs for making my paint. Always looking good. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. You always do a great job. Dylan for running your Pelican series. I have a blast in that one. And Brian Nuddy, Max McClure, and Dean Qualley for sharing the running of iOS this season. It was a good night.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on 3rd. Cody, have a great rest of your night.
Hey, thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, so let's now go ahead and talk to 2nd place finisher Devin Buccino, 2-time iOS Cup Series winner. Devin, this is Atlee and Dylan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
You got you guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Man, looks like you were doing pretty good out there yourself. Started in 8th, and we didn't really see too much of you until the pit strategy started to come into play, and then we saw you up in the top 5 and running very, very fast. And during that final pit stop, you came in, took tires, and you were able to make it by some of the drivers who did not take tires, and eventually you were in second, but you could not quite catch up to Stephen Black. I mean, what did you think of this race here at the 1.5 Las Vegas?
Yeah, no, we qualified 8th, which was a little worse than I wanted to. It's just tough here because we're so wide open. We worked our way up to, I think, 4th for the first pit stop on the caution or the stage break, and we didn't take tires. Me and Steven were the first to come out without tires, and I couldn't believe those 7 guys or so took a set there, because I knew that would kill them regardless of if we got cautions or not at the end, because tires wear so much here. So I knew eventually if it went green, it's nice to get a good green flag race. But I knew it would wear off eventually, and we kind of just felt like we had a top 3 locked up unless a late caution came up. But it's just tough because we're so wide open here, and the draft actually does play a really big factor. So being 2.6 or so behind Steven, we just couldn't really do much with him. He ran a really good race, but yeah, it was a lot of different strategies. Just happy that we had a set at the end of this one.
Devin, it seemed like all night long we saw guys struggle on the high side to get around somebody. Using the draft, you could get right up behind somebody, but if you had to go to the high side to try to make a pass, it seemed like you would stall out and just couldn't quite make it work. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah, I know at the end of right before the stage, I tried passing Joe on the bottom, and I just couldn't do that. And it's tough because it does just enough to even out, because you're full throttle on the bottom. And I mean, you're still pretty much full throttle on the top. It's just longer around, obviously. So you can't quite clear the guy and exit. And by the time you get back down to the corner, you're pretty much even. And it's just a nonstop cycle of that. You kind of need the guy on the outside to maybe chatter the right front and slide up just a tad. But at a full throttle place like Vegas, passing was definitely tough.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. But still, awesome run for you. Any sponsors you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to appreciate everyone at iOS. This is my last iOS race. I'm not racing any of the remaining races, any series, until the new SCSRA Xfinity Series starts. So I want to thank everyone at Intensity, Dylan for even bringing me into iOS a couple of years ago. Thank you, Atlee. New Craft Fine Jewelry and Design, Dev Sports Cards, Level Up Subs, my family and friends for watching. And I look forward to talking to you guys again in September when our Xfinity Series starts.
Absolutely. I mean, in all of the iOS races that you've done, you did an awesome job. You've racked up some wins, whether it was in the Cup Series or the Truck Series. You've done an awesome job, and definitely love seeing you run that throwback scheme tonight in the neon yellow 68. So awesome run, Devin, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, guys. Go Yellow Fellow.
Yep, that's the nickname of the number 68 that you can hear uttered and screamed sometimes in the stand, but here we go. It's time to talk to the man, the myth, the legend, Stephen Black, the man from Columbus, Mississippi. Let's talk to him. Stephen, this is Atlee and Dylan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Atlee.
Awesome. Well, man, what a race for you. Started outside pole, and you were battling with Willems up front for pretty much the whole beginning of the race until the stage break. And then we saw when all of the other drivers took tires, and after that stage we saw a whole lot of different strategies, and you fell back to like 7th or 8th, but then the tables turned when we saw everybody else come back in, and you flew back up to the field, had an awesome strategy. You did a great job saving fuel, saving tires, and you just really showed us how much of a genius you are with pit strategy and getting the win. I mean, what was your take on this race?
Well, that was a really fun race up front with Colin and Cody and Devin and Isaiah. I was kind of surprised when they all came down to take tires on lap 20 after the stage break, because it was such a long race. And yeah, I don't know what kind of strategy they were on, but I was just planning on running till the fuel ran out after the stage break that would be when I got tires. So, yeah, just overall fun night. A lot of draft, a lot of side draft going on. Good stuff like that.
Stephen, it looked like you were able to get in and off on and off pit road relatively quick under green flag compared to your competitors. It seemed like every time you came into the pit road, you'd make up 1.5 or 2 seconds on the cars around you. I was just curious if you had any secrets you'd want to share with us about how you seem to do that, not just tonight, but most races this season.
Well, I kind of enjoyed practicing green flag pit stops. Some tracks are a little harder than others, but I guess just keeping the car straight, playing with the brake and the throttle, and then really maintaining that speed up until you get close to that line and making sure you don't go over the pit road speed limit. It's a very fine line to walk, and sometimes it bites me because I'm really aggressive on entry. But just being able to control the car or truck is probably the biggest thing.
Catch you. Well, you did a great job doing that here at Las Vegas. I mean, anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yep, I know Logan Hagerman is somewhere. He's returned, so definitely shout out to Grandma Hagerman. Maybe we'll see him again next week on the track. I give her a shout out. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting every week. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everyone that comes out and runs the trucks and the league in general every night. It's been a lot of fun this season, and we're hoping for a little bit more success next season.
Got you. Well, congratulations on the win, Steve, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That was the race here at Las Vegas. Once again, congratulations to Stephen Black. I personally enjoyed this race. We saw, for pretty much the entire race, we saw two different strategies, two different sides to the strategies here. Whether it was somebody not taking tires and somebody else taking tires, somebody not taking fuel and then somebody taking fuel. We just saw two different sides to the strategy all throughout this race.
Yeah, anytime you get green flag action and drivers utilizing different types of strategies, it's going to make for an exciting finish. It's going to put a little uncertainty into things. And I thought that these guys delivered tonight. It was a competitive race with the playoffs and the championship on the line. And I think that this gives the league a lot of great momentum heading into Talladega next week.
Yep, and that's going to be a wild card race where anybody can win, and you don't want to miss that race here on Intensity Broadcasting. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Intensity Broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, as it would be greatly appreciated. Check us out on Twitter, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and other stuff on there, responding to people. So check us out. And then last but not least, on Roku TV and Amazon Prime TV, we have an app called eRacing TV, where you can, 7 nights a week, you can watch iRacing action, including on a few nights each week. You can watch Intensity Broadcasting broadcasts on there, including tonight's broadcasts. So check us out on there. I'm Matt Liatman on behalf of the entire Intensity Broadcasting team. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Over